At the time, I believed that I was attached to the song. In retrospect, I think the song attached itself to me. I wonder now whether the song helped me through the first few months of university or whether it actually kept me down. Was it keeping me alive or was it willing me to drown?
That's
Hi, I'm your host and and welcome to Soundtracks, a podcast where we share the personal connections we have with music and how these connections have influenced our experiences, our emotions, and our memories. Thank you for being here and thank you for trusting me with your time. This is a listener submission episode, and I am still joined by Miss Nia. And the submission is a little long, but it's very sweet. I think it has a good. When I say sweet, I mean like the person really took the time to reflect and think about themselves, and I think it's one of the reasons why I want to continue doing this, is like have people reflect on the music they love and how it has impacted them, but also have this time to reflect about your entire life, just your life in general.
It's the whole reason for music, isn't it?
It is. So, this title of the submission is A Song That Defined My Suffering.
Oh,
And the songs that feature is Drown by Bring Me the Horizon and Olivia Dean's debut album Messy. Love Messy. It reads, it's 2014 and I'm in JJ's with my sister. She's looking for a top to wear to some event. We don't stay long because she doesn't see anything she likes. There's a song playing in the store and I like the way it sounds. It's a rock song. I used to love rock music. And I want to find out the name of the song before we leave. We managed to catch a few words on the way out. The words are, Who will fix me now? Dive in when I am down. Save me from myself. Don't let me... After Googling these lyrics, I learned that the song was called Drown, and it was by a band called Bring Me the Horizon. I played it on and off throughout my final year of high school because I liked how it sounds. The music the music was what drew me to it. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics. As an introvert, I found adapting to university quite hard. I found comfort in listening to music. My music. Drown was one of the songs I would listen to at least once a day. After a while, I realized that the lyrics of the song articulated almost exactly what I was struggling with. I was lonely, but not alone, and heavily burdened. I wanted to be better, happier, to make it out alive, as the song goes, but I didn't want to share my thoughts with anyone. This song made me feel that I didn't need to share them with anyone. It already understood. Almost 10 years later, my taste in music has completely changed. I listen to neo soul and indie, and I'm currently listening to Olivia Dean's debut album, Messy. I think the fact that I have moved on from songs like Drown signifies how much my life has changed for the better. I've grown, I'm much happier, and my life is much more ordered. Now I can't even listen to Drown without cringing a little. At the time, I believed that I was attached to the song. In retrospect, I think the song attached itself to me. I wonder now whether the song helped me through the first few months of university or whether it actually kept me down. Was it keeping me alive or was it willing me to drown?
oh, that's deep.
So well written as
That
well.
is really deep. That was really well written.
It was.
I love that.
I did too.
I love that. I feel like them taking like that, just time to even just reflect, and it's, first of all, that's really lovely hearing how like they're aware of that, they're in such a better place right now. And I'm happy for you that you're in such a better place right now. That's such a good thing to hear. And I think, like they said, music can really reflect your mental state, and mental health is like plays a big part in music, even for the artists themselves. And I think, like I was saying to you before in the interview, when you make music, whether it's a sad song or a happy song, those get like stuck to people and their memories, like they have here. And yeah, I think I mean, I can't answer the questions that they have said. I think that's something that they know themselves, and it's a case of like looking within whether they know whether it was aiding them to feel a certain way. Because I know, for me, I know in certain situations I felt sad, and I've listened to sad songs, and it's just allowed me to even wallow and be more sad. And I think, like I said to you, like writing songs like Since We Ain't Together, a sad song, but it's that transitional period to get to that better place are important. But yeah,
I think it's one of those things where acknowledging that you're sad. I think that
acknowledgement.
confirmation, like the person say they don't want to speak to anyone, but the song kind of confirms that, they're not feeling okay. And there's that kind of validation that is actually true. I'm not feeling okay. And being able to now use that song to be like, I used to listen to this when I wasn't okay, but I'm so much better now. And let's say you didn't write it down. You didn't have a diary. You didn't have a friend to tell, but you yourself can acknowledge how far you've come, and using like music as a placeholder to be like, okay, when I was feeling down, I used to listen to this, and I'm in a much better place now, in my life. I think that, but also I think sometimes, like they said at the end, we want to have reasons to continue to be sad, and sometimes we listen to sad music or angry music to continue feeling those feelings because they're familiar, right?
Comfortable.
You're very comfortable being sad, so you stay there, and you use that kind of music that reminds you of those feelings to stay where you are, because moving to healing is hard to do, and it's uncomfortable to do.
It's a long process. It's a really long process. I always like say to people, and sometimes it's easier to give advice than take advice, always. But one thing I have always found is like, say if you're in a bad relationship or whatever the bad situation it is that you're in, make today that day that you decide, no, there's going to be a change. Because you might thinking like, oh, okay, I don't want to go through all of these growing pains to like get to where I need, because it's going to take 4 years, it's going to take 2 years, it's going to take a whole year. And that might seem long now, but the earlier you stop yourself of that denial of like, no, I'm just going to allow myself to stay here with no growth, you're delaying that chance to like grow into that butterfly moment. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And I think sometimes it is hard to like see that sometimes, but you just have to be willing to stick it out. And it's almost like out of like respect for yourself and wanting the best for yourself, I feel. Yeah.
And like choosing yourself as well in those moments where whenever I'm doing something shit that I think is shit that I don't want to do, I always say like, if it's something with a deadline, on X day at X time, this thing will no longer be there, right? You don't have to do this anymore. So just pull through and live for that time, right? When you don't have to do this anymore, and you'll be so proud to look back and be like, I've okay, cool. I didn't want to, but I did it, and I'm better for doing it because of all the lessons and all that other shit that I learned on the way. Because unfortunately, sometimes life is about doing the shit that we don't want to do.
Oh, 100%. I started doing therapy last year, and I was like, these doctors and people telling me, oh, you need to do therapy. I was like, I don't need therapy. I'm like, I don't need therapy, I'm fine. I knew I wasn't fine, but I was like, okay, no, like, I don't want to do it. I did it anyway, and I finished my last session last week, and we had like a whole reflective like conversation. And I was just like, I am so thankful that I just stuck to it, because at first I started in denial, then it went through a phase of grief, and now in a phase of acceptance. And I feel like allowing yourself to like go through these things, one, you learn so much about yourself, but also knowing you can do it. And also there's so many like things available like that are free also to like help, whether that is a creative outlook or therapy or talking to your mom or your siblings. Like there are things that help you get to the place that you want to be.
You need to use to help. I think sometimes when people are reluctant to go into therapy or to seek whatever healing that it's just because it's hard. right?
And it's not overnight.
Oh,
You're
that's the
you're opening
thing.
this can of worms. Or my therapist put it as, okay, so you have a cupboard, and in this cupboard is all your memories, and some of those memories are good memories and some of those memories are bad memories. But the memories that are bad, that you haven't been able to process because you've been pushing it to the side, they're subconsciously sitting there. But as soon as you open that cupboard, they all fall flying out because you haven't processed all of that stuff properly, or dealt with things that you need to deal with. So each time you open it, it hurts. You're like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. So then each, like, piece by piece, you go through it, you refold it, you put it away one by one. It's a whole few years that you're organizing this
Yeah.
closet, but eventually you'll be able to shut that closet. And if you want to open
You can
it,
open it.
you can select it and be like, here's this, here's this. Do you know what I mean? It's a process, but I recommend.
Yeah, I always akin it to,
I
like,
recommend.
when I used to go to therapy, I'd come back so exhausted, right? And then many
Oh my
times
gosh,
on the
yes.
difficult days, I'd be like, I'd rather have a broken leg than do this. Like, I'd rather have a physical
Your whole
problem.
day is done.
I have to go at the end of the day. I can't do anything after. I have to come home and sleep.
That's the thing. I would always have mine in the morning, and I would literally be like almost bedbound because it's physically, mentally really draining. It's really a lot. And I think also forcing yourself to do those things and knowing, like, oh, I have to think about my emotions at 12 o'clock on a Monday, sometimes feels a bit like, oh my gosh,
dread.
like, I don't want to do that. But yeah, I think when you know it's for the greater good, yeah,
And you'll be better
definitely.
for it. I think there's lots of times when, like, you yourself would have benefited if someone had gotten therapy before meeting you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, 100%. That's like, for me, I didn't go for therapy for like relationships or such, but I knew that if I hadn't gone to therapy, the person, say, I am now today than I was 6 months ago, very different headspace, very different headspace. And you know, you don't want to be having children or meeting people with problems to give other people more problems, so then they now need to go therapy because of
you didn't go to therapy.
yeah. And I think all, like, you know, breaking generational curses and just I think, yeah, as long as you, like, start with you, all the advice that you'd ever want to give to someone, give it to yourself and put action on it.
Yeah, like, so many times where, I'd have like an argument with my mom, or like just like say something, or just like, okay, cool, I need to go do this work because someone didn't, and that's fine, but I need to make sure that I'm not the reason someone else goes to therapy. And like, even the thought of having children, all that shit has to be done way before the kid
Oh my
comes,
God.
or the kid is not
Yeah.
coming at all, because I'm not gonna bring
Yeah.
someone to this house when I'm not prepared for them. And I think the money part, okay, that can be solved, and that's chill, but it's about like being emotionally ready to have a child and not put on whatever generational curse that I might be holding onto that child, and kind of go to a place where I can leave that behind. Given how exhausting I think we find parenting to be, it's a lot harder when you haven't worked on yourself, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, if you're a parent, you're teaching someone how to live, and if you're not happy with how you're living, what are you teaching them? You know, you can't teach to the best of your ability, and it doesn't mean you can't be a good parent. You definitely can be a good parent, and no one says that parenting's easy. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say parenting's easy, but definitely I think just like interactions, whether it's your child, a boyfriend, your cousins, like, if there's things there that need to be healed, go heal them, not only for them but for yourself. And you'll just realize that there's just so much, you'll just be happier, you'll just lead a happier life. And, you know, mental health and stress is like one of the biggest, like, killers. So, you know, I think people don't really realize how much it can affect you physically as well. So you gotta look after this brain up here,
because you spend most of the time with yourself, actually, more than anyone else. So you just gotta clean up house there
yeah,
before you go spreading your I don't know, not unhappy, yeah, unhappiness or anger towards other people. I feel like you also feel a lot lighter when you're done.
Oh, so
Like,
much
oh
lighter.
God, thank God.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can shut the cupboard
Yeah,
finally.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do you know what
It's
I
not
mean?
spilling out. It's been dealt with. It's neat. It's
Yeah,
clean.
yeah,
And you're able to kind of go out there and be a nicer person and just be lighter in life.
yeah. 100%. I
Wow,
agree. I agree.
that was a listener submission. Thank you for sitting here and listening to it and talking about it with me.
No, yeah, it's a good
And
one.
thank you to the person who shared it. Thank you for your willingness to share. And if anyone wants to share as well, reflect on the music that you love. If you don't want to share, that's fine. But just do take the time to kind of sit down in your feelings, write it down, think about it in the shower, and just reflect and be proud of where you are now versus where you were before, and just really pat yourself on the back in that regard. But yes, if you want to submit, the link is in the show notes, so you can find me on Instagram. Always happy to chat there. And yes, I've been Tendai,
I've been Nia Chennai.
and the Spin Soundtracks. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.